Good people, how art thou? It's your boy Cliff Latham, and I got my co-host Graylin Early. And welcome to the Art Beat, where we discuss all things art, which we believe to be the heartbeat of our community, of our culture. Man, I'm glad to be here. You glad to be here today?
Man, I'm so excited to be here today.
Yeah. Man, I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today. I think we got some good information to give. And man, it's going to be nostalgic because we're going to go back in time and kind of show the progression, right? The progression of then versus now, the evolutions of the arts, right? Back then, they didn't want me. Now I'm hot.
Now they all
on me, right? We're going to talk about the journey of how people have traditionally gotten into the arts or gotten discovered or gotten their feet wet and all those things versus now they can cut on their phone and become an instant sensation. So, man, let's dig in.
All right.
First thing we want to kind of do is kind of talk about how it's easier to create art or easier to create music, but it's so much harder to be seen. Would you disagree or agree with that?
I definitely agree with that. There's so many factors that go behind that. I mean, you got access to a lot of technology now that makes it easier to create, but also too, it's still some challenges within getting seen, and just because you have those technologies, not everybody know how to use those tools, right? So
right. And I think the other thing that we have to keep in mind too, you're not the only one who has access to this stuff, right? So
Correct.
With millions and millions of people, there were always millions of talented people, but they didn't have the resources to express their art or to put their contribution, if you will, out into the atmosphere. But now it's so simple and everybody can do it, man. I remember back in the days, man, when we had to when you said going to the studio, that meant you had to get your money together.
Oh, yeah.
Then you had to know somebody with a studio. I mean, it was so many steps that it took. And now if I say, let's go to the studio, I really could mean, hey, Graylin, come sit by me and we look in this computer, cut on a little mic, pull up a beat, and we can be done with a song and make a hit in 15, 20 minutes, man. But so much more went into building something of quality. And then let's be honest, you can have your money together and go to the studio and it still sound like trash compared to what can happen today with the technology, as you mentioned, and all those things, man. I'm from the day of, you remember when you just get a tape and you know what I'm saying, you get a little piece of paper and you wet it, put it in a little ends, pop the little thing out, and wait for your song to come on the radio. And man, you record over that song and then you record over it. Man, I remember my cousin and I, we were in my aunt's kitchen and we had the Ghetto Boys CD. You remember the Ghetto Boys?
Yeah.
Man, the Ghetto Boys, this year Halloween fell on the weekend. So, believe it or not, Pastor Cliff thought he was going to be a gangster rapper at one point in time, right? And so, man, we was in my aunt's house and we had that recording going on. We had taped over the double side, so you got all the air before it starts, right? Then we started, getting our little rap together, and man, we had some firecrackers in my aunt's house so we can make some gunshot sounds. This was all.
I wonder how that worked in the house with the parents. They thinking something happened.
Oh, listen. She was not there. She didn't find out that we popped firecrackers in our house till we was like 35 years old.
Oh, okay.
And that probably happened when we were like 12, 13 years old. But man, just really talking about what it took and the extreme measures and the work and the creativity that it took for us to try to do those things back in the day. And now, man, we see people. I'll be honest. Sometimes I see people go viral and make it. I'm like, man, it doesn't even look like they did anything.
Effortless.
But it's because the technology and the world that we live in, everything is so accessible and so much easier to do, man. So how do you feel about that? The fact that at this point in time, we don't have to work as hard. I won't necessarily say they don't have to, but we don't, because it's easier for us as well.
Oh, yeah. I think if you came from the era where you was on the tapes and it was hard, you had to get your money up and find a producer who can make beats for you because MPCs and all those programming from the earlier digital it took some skills to do that.
Definitely.
Right. And now is not so much, you got computer based programs where you click in it. There's nothing wrong with that
At all.
However, if you came from that era, you know, right? And so I think it's a great thing that obviously technology has evolved to make it easier, because now we have so much more art out there.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
And so, diversity in art from every spectrum, technology has made it that much easier. And I think that it's a great thing, with that. Just a quick story about, tapes. I remember recording on those Fisher Price little recorders, and you had the little mic.
The little mic, yeah. Wow.
Made some of my first demo tapes on those, and just playing around with different stuff, and it just experiment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, believe it or not, my first studio was the church. Because, you had the tape deck at the church because we recorded the sermons. And, of course, all you had to do was run the keyboard through the sound system, and it come through, man. Yeah, so... Man, shout out to NPT AOSGOC Studios. They didn't know that there was a studio after church hour.
Right.
But my grandfather, who was the pastor, he's dead and gone. So I don't think God gonna get me too bad. But it was a lot of rapping going on at my church after hours. My cousins and I, man, we would go in there and we would record in there, man, and we would rap. No cursing or anything like that, man. But man, we was trying to do what we was trying to do, right? And so another quick story, we would be at we had a Radio Shack back in my city, so we would have beat making contests, and if they know, they know, you know what I'm saying?
Radio Shack.
Cliff was their dude, you go and you make your beat, you save it on the machine, and the guy who worked at Radio Shack, he would let us all come in and make beats. And then on Saturday nights, man, everybody gathered at the mall and we play those beats and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
Let's just say most people had to bow down to me. Oh, yeah. But yeah, man. So I wanna switch it up a little bit, and talk about how social media and streaming has kind of changed the game altogether, because we were on this trajectory where we were trying to get a record deal, or you were trying to get discovered, American Bandstand, Star Search. I think back here, and this was right before I moved here, they had the Showdown at Southside, right?
Showdown,
because I think my wife and them used to tear that up. The dance group Passion, shout out to them, man. Used to knock heads out with the dance and everything like that. But you really don't see those types of things anymore.
No.
So the track to being discovered or success, or maybe hoping somebody is at this competition that knows somebody that can connect you with somebody, that's really not the way that we do it anymore. So, but now you have social media, and you can cut on your phone, and you have unlimited time to upload your art, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's horrible. But you have that access now, man. How much more of a bonus do you believe that to be to the culture of music discovery and getting out there in these days?
I think it's been crucial of finding artists that you normally wouldn't be able to find.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, A&Rs had to create opportunities. I know here I was a part of the Source Awards showcase that came to Fort Wayne, right? Wow. And so being a part of that, you got a spread in the magazine. You got, a chance to maybe work with the A&R that was searching for the talent, right? Dope. And so, and through that, social media and streaming and YouTube and all of that has made it a lot easier on record companies to discover talent. Yeah. Near, far, wherever, in the corners of all over the world. Yeah. And so I think it was a great benefit, because everybody couldn't go to those showcases, because you're like, man, if you're young and you're like, man, I need to go to, Alaska because somebody's putting this talent show in. That's hard to do. Get a plane ticket, you underage, like your mama ain't letting you go, so it has became a good platform for definitely young artists to be able to showcase their talent, put it out there, be seen and heard.
I think so, man. I think that it gives an awesome opportunity to kind of expose people, if nothing else, to other people who are doing it. So for your example, if I'm a young person and I'm like, how do I do this? And I see another young person be successful, it's like it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it because I see a route. It may not be the route for me, but I at least have seen somebody do it and I know it can be done. I think right now we're in an age where it's easier to produce. It's easier to get the content, but sometimes I think it's harder to stand out because it's oversaturated.
100%.
There's so many people that are doing it. And let's be honest, there's so many people that are doing it well. If I think about back in the day when I started playing drums or I started playing the keyboard, you had to figure it out. But now they can go on social media and it's a how-to for everything.
YouTube University.
YouTube University. I'm degreed.
Oh, I
I'm
am
degreed,
too.
bro. I got papers. It's official. I am a graduate and a ever learning student of YouTube University. So now, not only is it easier to have access to get your art out there, you have to be good. Because man, I see some of these young musicians and some of these young rappers or singers or dancers. It's like you think they come out the womb with this talent, but really now I'm finna go on to something else, right? We see all these little kids super glued to their iPads when they're kids, and we like the parents need to get them off of that. But yo, that is the university.
Yeah.
They getting educated, right? And they're seeing all these things. Now, some of them just wasting time, cartoons, lack of discipline, lack of structure from some of the parents.
Yes.
But there are some benefits attached to it because, man, these kids, they're seeing things that are exposing them to development that would take years and years. Like these musicians and singers and stuff, man, I hear them and they sound like they've been doing it for 25 years and they only 5 years old. It's crazy. All right, let's talk about, again, like from the obstacle to opportunity, right? We talked about what it would take back in the day versus how easy it can happen now and how people are getting discovered now. Man, who the first person you remember going viral from the music standpoint?
I have to go with Soulja Boy.
I was going to say Soulja Boy, right. And I mean, think about this guy who was a multi-millionaire who capitalized. I mean, like from ringtones, from all this stuff, man, off of making a video. And if I'm not mistaken, he really wasn't trying to be a rapper first. It was just a dance he was doing, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? Yeah. And so now, man, it's just so easy, but so hard to get discovered.
I mean, and even to go with that with Soulja Boy, it was the era of MySpace. So MySpace came out, so it was like the hottest social platform that was out there, and you got to showcase your talent through it too, and connect with others as well. So it was a great platform. He got discovered off of it, launched his career, multi-millionaire now, and he's just continuing to go. So being able to be first on some platforms, right? And there's a lot of platforms that are getting created, and if you can utilize those platforms and be first and go through, you got a chance to truly make something out of your art, from that. So
because actually the new A&Rs or the new people that put you on is your followers. Yeah. Right? Because it can be as easy as now you're not trying to find them. They're actually drawn to you because you do something of a particular quality or something that brings attention or interest to you. And man, people can share this thing, and this person may have 1 million followers and they share it and they've placed you in the eyes of millions of people just like that. And it's crazy that it used to take so much energy, so much work, so much money, so much time, so much investment. And now, man, it can be as simple as pressing a button, recording, pressing upload, and somebody else. And matter of fact, sometimes it doesn't even have to be good. It can be the most horrible thing and then get shared millions of times.
Oh, yeah. and to look at how it has evolved is even back in the MySpace era with Soldier Boy, you had to have 1 million followers. You know, now you don't. And I'm telling artists now is this is free game for you out there.
Give them the free game, bro.
You don't have to have 1 million followers. If you can say, look, I can get 100 dedicated people to invest into your art.
Yeah.
How much could you make it, right?
Right.
You know, and you got to be realistic with yourself on what does success look like for them in that space. So, do you want to drive a Bentley and have a mansion? Okay, well, you need more than 100,
Definitely.
right? And so, but if you want to make a living, a decent living out of it, you don't need 1 million followers. You need, you know, a few, maybe 1,000, you know, dedicated followers who's going to pour into your career, that's buying tickets to any show that you go, buying your merch, buying your content, your product, and following you on those social media platforms where you can get paid.
I like that, and I think you kind of made a shift in the direction that we need to go. So it's not just about you uploading something and it being good. Now it's about the consistency of making your quality better. And then, like you said, getting some people to buy in or invest into what you're doing, because you're doing it on this level because that's what the budget will allow. But the more the budget increases, then you can do it at a higher quality. Maybe you are at a better studio, or you can buy better beats, or you have a better quality microphone. All these things that put you on that competitive level of the people that you're trying to not necessarily compete with, but compete with, right?
Yeah.
It is a competition, whether it can be a healthy competition, but you want to present your best at every opportunity that you have to do so. And so I like that of investing in yourself. If the Bentley is the goal, the Bentley's the goal. I got that. But even to get to the Bentley, you have to have some investment in yourself to build up your product where it is of a brand that people would really want to make a big investment. Like, okay, I give my nephew $10, right? But if I see somebody with some tremendous talent, I may be able to go get a loan because I'm like, man, it's worth it.
Yes.
All right. And so I guess it's about building your brand. And I think another thing that we have to talk about is the mindset of the modern performers, right? And these are the people who are or become these viral sensations, and they make it, but they have not had the opportunity to be in front of people. So I'm not talking about a producer. I'm not talking about a beat maker. I'm not talking about a mix engineer, all these things that we can do in our PJs, in our bedroom. But when you call yourself a performer, then you got to be able to deal with people. And I see so many people who have all these viral moments on their phones, and they become these great people that we like from a social media standpoint. But then when you meet them in person, they're socially awkward. They don't know how to have a conversation. They don't know how to hold a microphone in their hand. It's like all these type of things. So that kind of speaks to the part where ARs are still relevant. And artist development is still something that's needed. I know you want to speak on it. Go ahead, bro.
Yes. Artist development is a must do, even in this age. Everybody's uploading just straight up from their talent, right? But the talent has been cultivated or developed. And, you know, some sneak through and make it.
Yeah.
A whole lot don't.
Yeah.
Because of that. And so, you know, people got to be willing, and we have self-producers a lot now, you know, whether it's, you know, them producing their own self as rappers, and they don't understand even rappers need a producer.
Most definitely.
You know, and so it's about true development, artist development for longevity.
Yeah.
If you want to be in the game.
Gotcha.
If you just want that one hit, you know, and gone, you know, and you get remembered for that, which is cool too.
Yeah.
If that's what you desire. But if you desire a long career in the music business, you have to be developed. The best are still getting developed.
Yeah.
So, and the mindset of that, and like you said, it's social awkward. There's people that don't even touch the stage, you know, before that. I know for me, and probably for yourself, church was
definitely
the first
First
place
stage.
where we learned how to hold a mic.
yeah.
You know, on Easter Sunday, hey, say your line, baby.
Yep.
You know,
or at my church, say it again because we ain't hear you.
You like
Artist development, right?
You scared, sweating,
Yeah,
you know.
man.
But that helped a lot.
Definitely.
And I truly believe artists who come from the church, they get a lot of that already, right?
Definitely.
And they are a little bit more prepared and seasoned for what's to come down the road. So that development piece, church developed me in my whole entire performance and creative realm.
I like that, man, that you say performance, because there are some certain words that we label as taboo at church. Performance, stage. Like, miss me being so super deep. The pulpit is a stage. It's a platform. It's an elevated place, right? And when we are singing, we are performing. And every time I get on the stage, hear me, saints of God, who may be looking at the art beat, I put on my best performance for God. I put on my best performance because I believe if my life was to end, I want my last display of appreciation, of thanksgiving, my last performance to him to be my best one. I don't want to stand at the gates and be like, hey, man, go pull that concert or that worship night that I did from 2022. No. I think like my last praise, my everyday praise, it should always be my best performance to give to him. But that brings us to another thing. As you spoke of us being developed in church, a lot of young people aren't getting that opportunity anymore because we're streaming. So we can't let Lil Jon play the drums, right? I got a chance to play and mess up and become the lead drummer out of 5 drummers at my church because we took time down the line. One song, next. It was no such thing as playing 2 songs in a row. It was a rotation. So you would we used to call it devotional service, right? Where the saints get up and sing songs, right? And you would be mad when somebody got up and sang a slow song and it was your turn to play the drums because that's your song, bro. You don't get another chance. Like and then so and you hoping that your song end on the shout so you can do the shout music, right? So you can get it in. But man, now because we're streaming, we don't let the keyboard player who's trying to learn how to play the keyboard, we don't let him play. So that's one of the beautiful things about the Brighter Day Arts Academy that we're going to be doing is giving those time to develop and invest in the younger musicians so that we don't have one musician running to three churches on a Sunday because there's such a shortage of musicians and drummers and guitarists and singers in our community. So you all stay tuned for what's to come with that. When the Brighter Day Arts Academy, when we launch, when we start doing the work, you need to get your young people involved because we're going to pour into them quality from years, decades of experience of how to lead worship, how to direct and train voices and choirs, and how to play the instruments that we need. And you don't have to have the music like that at church, but most of us in the Black culture, we want some good music at church. So we're going to make sure that they get it from the culture that is teaching and inspiring them how to build that culture. I give a quick story, man. When I first started playing the keyboard, I was like 14 years old, and I had been the drummer for the church for years. And I hit this little block chord. It was an A minor, a G major, and an F major. I hit these 3 chords, and I was like, doom, 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 doom. I was like, that sound like Help Me Lift Them Up. It sounded this song Help Me Lift Them Up. Man, them ladies came out the choir stand and started speaking in tongues and laying hands on me and praying for me, man, because they had been praying for musicians for years. I lived in the college town, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, University of Alabama, Roll Tide 8. And so, man, we would have a college student, and when that college student left, he would send another college student. Well, the last guy was an introvert. He didn't talk much. And so he didn't send us anybody. And so we had been like 3 years without a musician. And man, after that day, they came and laid hands on me, prayed on me, put that oil on me, that blessed oil. And they were speaking in tongues. I don't know what they were saying, but it meant something and it did something in the atmosphere because I've been playing ever since. And the thing of it was, when we talk about development and pouring and investing and building, man, I was probably playing the keyboard for maybe 3 or 4 weeks before we had a whole band at church. Hear me. Because them 3 little chords of the song that I learned, I talked to other dude, one of the drummers. I'm like, hey, man, get off the drums. You come play this on the keyboard. Then I jumped on the organ. right? And then I'm after being on the organ for a little while, maybe I'm talking about this is all in the span of a few weeks. Wow. I'm like, hey man, come do this on the organ. One of the other drummers, you come do this on the organ. So then he's on the organ, somebody else on the piano, on the keyboard. I pick up the bass just because I found out that I had an ear for music outside of rhythm. And man, I'm playing the bass and I'm picking up. Now listen, this is the sad thing about it when you don't have anybody to invest or pour or help you. I didn't understand that the bass had to be tuned. So every time I played the bass, I learned the song a different way, whether the notes had been tuned. I'm talking about just horrible. But guess what? With YouTube University, you know how to tune a guitar. With YouTube University, you know how to play the keys, you know, all these things. So I do believe that it's a remarkable evolution that we are experiencing with all that can be offered through social media and all these other resources. But I think that artist development, even for dancers and anybody who is doing anything with the arts, culinary arts, like I get a lot of my meals, my recipes from YouTube. Soulful Tea. If y'all want to know how to cook some good stuff, it's a lady called Soulful Tea on YouTube, man, and I go look her up. Like it's such an amazing resource for us, but I think we have to still pair it with some development from the artist. Like, and so I just want to give them some steps as we wrap up today. Okay. Some of the things of how to build it right, how to build your brand, how to build what you want to do as it relates to arts, whether it's culinary arts, whether it's dancing, whatever it is that you're trying to do, any art form of expression. There are some things that we want to do. So what's some first things they can do, man, on that, bro?
One, I would say, definitely find your niche.
Yep. Yeah.
Like find your place.
Can't be all over the place.
No, and nobody wants a duplicate. Yeah. Right. And so find your niche and create a lane of your own and be you. Yep. And people want to know who you are. They're interested in knowing who you are as an artist. Yeah. And that's where I would start from. Make yourself interesting. Your life is interesting. Whatever you do outside of the art is interesting enough to find a niche that people can gravitate towards.
I like that. And I will say, even in finding your niche, like the first thing may not work. So be willing to try something else. But when you find something that works, man, work it. Yep. When you find that thing that works, work it. Not saying it has to be the only thing, but it should be the primary thing. So find that primary thing, find your niche. I think another thing we should be able to do is collaborate. Right. I'll tell a story from me, man. I had a horrible experience from a production standpoint. I had gone down to a studio in Tennessee years ago, and I was playing my beats, and the dude, I don't know if he thought I was just crazy or something. He wasn't aware that I realized that while I'm playing my beats, he was recording. He had the Pro Tools going in the background. And so, man, that hurt me because this person who had hooked me up with this studio was supposed to be somebody that was close to me. And this dude was trying to jack my beats. You know what I mean? And so, man, it made me go into a shell where for years and for decades, and I still have a problem collaborating because I feel like I don't want anybody to take anything from me. But as I grow in my understanding of gifts that they come from God, I realize no one can take anything from you, right? It's yours. God has gifted you with this unique ability. And so for those of you who may be struggling to do things on a high level because you refuse to collaborate, listen, there is power in partnership. When you can partner with somebody who maybe has been there, has done that, or maybe trying to be on the same journey as you put your heads together and you try to find out the best way to do this thing. You can cover more ground when you have an extra set of feet, extra set of hands, of eyes that can partner with you as you move towards what you're doing. So never negate the power of collaboration. Yeah. What else you got, man?
Create a portfolio.
Yeah.
Of your best works.
I like that.
And make sure that it is professional. Yeah. If you want to reach the professional part of the industry, gotcha. Unless we call it being underground. If you want to be underground all your life, then you don't necessarily have to do that.
There's still a structure to that too, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
But put forth your best work.
I like that.
And make sure it's professional. And with that, ask people around you.
YouTube.
Get
Google.
feedback, because that's when you know you got something special. When people say, "Man, right there, that song, that picture, that dance routine,
Yeah.
was on point."
Yeah.
And listen to the people that's around you who's in that space.
I like that, because when you say feedback, I think it's easy for us when we are in our bedrooms or we're just putting things up. I can be a witness to this, that it stops or stunts your growth when you have celebration without evaluation, right? Because I like the songs I do, right? But is it good? And what are we comparing it to being good to, right? And so
Correct.
At some point, you have to jump out of your comfort zone and allow someone else to evaluate what you're doing, whether it's a dance routine, whether it's a song. A lot of people say that practice makes perfect. I disagree. I believe practice makes permanent. For those of you who are dealing with culinary arts, y'all been making sweet potato pies for 20 years and they still nasty because you've not allowed anybody to evaluate it. So you have celebration without evaluation. Your son, your daughter, and your husband, they're gonna tell you that their sweet potato pie is good because they've not tasted anybody else's sweet potato pie. So that's not really a fair evaluation or assessment, even for you and for your growth, right? So I think we have to speak to that, man, of letting people hear. Yeah. I know me, for a long time, I wouldn't want people to hear my music because it's my art. How you gonna tell me if my art is good or not? But at some point, there has to be evaluation so that you can have elevation of skill, of going to another level. And so, man, I just encourage you to let somebody hear it. Let somebody taste it.
It can be scary.
It is going to be scary.
It's scary.
It's scary, bro.
It's scary.
It's scary.
But, it has to be done. And so, and definitely, if, we could get in all kinds of other stuff. And that's another segment on sync licensing and all kinds of different things when people are evaluating your work and comparing it to other things that's already in the industry. So
exactly,
you got to put forward your best foot.
I like that. I like this because there is a positive power in comparison.
Yes.
Let me say that. Let me rephrase that. There can be a positive power in comparison, because if you have celebration without evaluation, you'll have stagnation. Because you won't get better, you won't grow, because it's only in your ears, it's only on your taste buds, it's only your visual of it. But when you compare it to somebody else, you can tweak the menu, right? You can tweak your product and it can get better. Not that you're necessarily competing, right? Or competing because you want to be better than or whatever, but you want to be your best. You want to be the best. And so the more we grow, the better our product becomes. All right. I'll give you this last thing and I'm gonna wrap this up. Let me give you this. You cannot go viral being silent, right? Whether it's a song, whether it's a beat, whether it's a dance. Some of you have some amazing recipes and no one has ever tasted them. Some of you do some amazing art and drawings, but no one has ever seen it. If you know me, you realize I'm preaching to me right now, right? Because I have hundreds of songs that are done in my phone that you need to hear, world. Thousands of songs that, all I have to do is take a day and complete them, right? Mm-hmm. And they say that the richest place in the world is the graveyard. Hear me. They say the richest place in the world is the graveyard. So many recipes of so many meals, right? The remedy that will heal cancer is probably in the grave, because someone was so close, but they wouldn't share that information with anyone because they wanted to be the only one to present it, right? Mm-hmm. Don't allow death to rob you of the chance to give someone else a better life through your art, through your contribution. Listen, your art is a gift. It wasn't just gifted to you, but it was given to you to give to someone else to allow them to have a better life, a better way. Yeah. So let's not be stingy with our art. Let's share, because it's not ours to hold and to hoard, but it's ours to put out into the world, that the world will be better because of our contributions. Absolutely. Right? This has been the Art Beat, where we discuss all things art. And guess what? We want you to have an amazing, amazing day. All right, good people, be blessed.